Welcome everybody to this episode of O365Eh. Today we're joined by Guy Yaffe from Audiocodes. Welcome, Guy.
Hi, Curtis.
Anyone who's been around Microsoft Teams is probably familiar with Audiocodes, and Guy is a business line manager from Audiocodes. And we're really interested today to talk to him about their Microsoft Teams Meeting Insights product offering, which is fairly new. So Guy, I'll turn it over to you and maybe just say a few words about yourself and Audiocodes and specifically the Meeting Insights offering for Microsoft Teams.
Thank you first for having me. Sorry that I forgot my red Nike shirt, but maybe for next time. I'm with Audiocodes for the last 2 decades. In the last few years, I'm managing, as you mentioned, the recording business line and productivity applications. Audiocodes is one of Microsoft Gold partners for more than a decade. To make it short, literally complement Microsoft with literally everything, every component that an enterprise requires when they do that journey, when they migrate from anything to Microsoft Teams, as far as voice is concerned mainly, where Meeting Insight is really the cherry at the top of the cake. And hopefully I can show you guys some nice stuff, how we integrated lately GPT and a lot of exciting technology around it.
Great, sounds good. Do you want to just jump right into a demo of the Meeting Insights offering?
Yeah, sure. Just to set the scene first, Meeting Insight is an embedded application inside Microsoft Teams, as everybody will see in a second. With 2 main purposes, 2 main values. First one is an organizational repository application where in a centralized place, we actually store all of the great ideas that we as users and managers are sharing during meetings, meeting like this one and any meeting that you can think of, sales calls, support call, QBRs, stand-up meeting or internal training, and obviously a significant improved productivity for users who use Meeting Insight during their Microsoft Teams meeting using advanced AI capabilities. So let's see how that looks like. I will share my screen.
And one quick question, Guy. When you
Sure.
say it's an embedded Teams app, it's just a regular Teams application you install, I guess, from the App Store?
Correct. Yes, and it is embedded from the user perspective. As you can see here on the left-hand side, Meeting Insight is embedded here in my left bar, and with a click of a button with single sign-on, I actually have access to 6,667 sessions or any types of meetings that I was part of. And exactly like you guys can search on your Outlook. After 2 decades in Audiocodes, I have more than 500,000 emails in my Outlook, and I can search each and every idea that shared with me 10 years ago. Exactly the same I can do now with all of the ideas shared with me in the last few years. These meetings are also organized, as you can see here on the left-hand side, into few buckets like my meetings, meetings that were shared with me. You guys know how it is with these back-to-back meetings that you plan. Sometimes it's like taking your car to the garage to fix a problem. You know how you start, you never know how it ends, right? So you have an agenda, you start talking about something, but suddenly you find yourself speaking about something else. In 426 occasions in the last 2 years, these topics that were not planned, I was not invited, was relevant for my business. So the meeting owner decided to share a snippet or the whole session with me. And if you will have the time, Curtis, I will show you how using Meeting Insight, you can invest 5 minutes to understand what did you miss in 1 hour meeting. So how you can save 55 minutes in a 1 hour meeting. Now, another interesting bucket is events, where we in Audiocodes actually share internal training from any kind that you can think of to the whole organization. For example, we have a bi-weekly sales academy where we train all of our sales organization across the globe. If somebody could not join, we always have meeting inside. Okay, now let's look at a typical session, how that looks like. So I would just jump into my favorites. And I always look at the session because it does not matter if this is a virtual meeting, an on-prem meeting, a hybrid meeting today, right? Divided into three parts: before the session, during the session, and after the session. Before the session, the only thing that we ask our customers to do is to come prepared with the most amazing agenda to make their meeting productive, right? But everything else happens automatically. During the meeting as well, they don't need to do anything. They need to focus on one thing, on their customers and on their peers and on their agenda. All the magic happens automatically. Now let's see what is this magic, right? You can see here a typical session that I did a few years ago. And you can see here a typical player page with all the advanced capabilities of running it in double speed and with live caption. You can see that our AI engine has sliced and diced everything that was presented in this meeting. Okay, and this is where the AI is coming into play. So first of all, you can see here two types of generative AI meeting summary. Very, very accurate. The first one is bullet point summary. And the second one is topic-based paragraph, detailed one, also very, very accurate. The other thing that we automatically generate after each and every meeting is a meeting outline, which is kind of an agenda or the topics discussed with their timeline. Obviously, all the action items are automatically generated. And in few weeks, we are going to add automatic detection of all the questions and answers raised in meetings, which is adding huge amount of values to sales calls, support call, and issues detected, like if a customer was not happy with something, something didn't work, all of these events will be detected automatically. And you guys probably know generative AI better than me. What I just presented you is just the tip of the ice. With this technology, you can literally dream what we will have in 1 month and in 6 months from today. Now, just to summarize, I promised you guys that I will show you how you can invest 5 minutes to see what did you miss in 1 hour meeting that you could not attend, or you were double booked, or anything like that, right? So I usually invest the first minute with reading the meeting summary, obviously, right? I can even read both of them, okay? Now, we humans also have a very good memory, so I will go also over the slides presented and the share screens, and if I see a specific one which caught my eye and I would like to see, okay, what's the story behind it? Obviously, I can play back each and every one of them, right? I would also go over the outline and see what were the topics discussed and maybe dive into a specific one, go over the action items, and last but not least, maybe I would like to listen to a specific speaker on that session. So if this was a customer call, any type of a customer call, maybe I would like to listen only to the voice of the customer, what he said at the end. So I can filter by speakers, and down below you can see who said what in any given moment. Now it is filtered only to Kimberly. So let's say that Kimberly is the customer. So I can play each and every one of these slices, right? Another interesting use case, if we have the time, is how to find the needle in the haystack. I gave you guys the example of finding specific idea is an analogy on your Outlook with these thousands of email. Now, how do you find something that was presented to you 3-4 months ago?
So, Guy, I just have a quick question before
Sure.
you just move on. Let's say, we're talking like me reviewing the summary and, like the bullet point summary. If I didn't make the meeting, is there any way to flag where, I was potentially assigned something or somebody said my name during that session so that I can track kind of like what the discussion was in that time frame?
So in the meeting summary, I can show you guys that names are mentioned. So if I will speak with Curtis during a meeting and I will ask him to do something, this would be mentioned on the very accurate meeting summary. And obviously in the action item tab, I will definitely see it. And if I could not join at all, I will obviously get, after such a session, an automatic email from the system with the meeting summary with my action items that I need to follow up on.
Perfect. Thank you.
No worries. So we talked about how to find a needle in the haystack. So there are 3 options for that. You can definitely start by looking at the transcription and find keywords, right? Like you're searching your email. The second, more intuitive approach, especially to us humans with visual memory, is to go over the slides and see if this is what you are looking for and try to find what was the story behind the specific slide. And you can, the beauty is that using Meeting Insight, you can play a specific slide and see what was presented, listen and read on the right-hand side what was the story behind that slide. And the third option, this one is the one that I like the most. It is searching information by speaker. So this goes to this amazing colorful bar down below, which illustrates who said what at any given moment. So you can think of not only to play back each and every one of these slides, of course, but to filter a specific speaker like I showed earlier. This could be a CEO that you would like to listen, what he had to say important at the end of specific meeting. So you just play this 1 minute at the end of the meeting. This could be voice of the customer, how he summarized a sales call, or any other use case that you can think of.
Very cool. We have a couple questions teed up. I don't know if now is a good
Sure.
time. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll go first and I'll pass over to Michael. So very cool. I was wondering if any of this is available during the meeting. I'm thinking of the case where if I join a meeting late, I can look at the transcript or if my name's mentioned at any time previously.
So very good question, Curtis. Actually, most of the magic that I just showed you guys happens in a post-meeting analysis right after the meeting. We do have some capabilities that I haven't presented to capture action items and meeting summary during the meeting and also share it with everybody else who attend the meeting, okay?
Okay.
So this is definitely doable.
Good.
I think
and then,
okay.
Oh, sorry, just one more question about deployment. So it's an app, I guess each end user installs it. Is there any other pieces that need to be deployed or all this capability is available as soon as an end user installs it?
So more accurate is not each user. This is an organization application, right? So we sell it mainly to enterprises. And as such, it needs to connect eventually to the organization Active Directory and Teams tenant, right? At the end of the day, we deploy it to those users. Let's say that they bought 10,000 users. So their admin will provision for these specific 10,000 users the Meeting Insight in their Teams browser. So actually, eventually they would open their PC one morning and they would see Meeting Insight as one of their applications.
Got it.
They don't need to do anything.
So there's an enterprise application that I guess it runs in Audiocodes, Azure tenant subscription, and then there's also an end user app that the administrator can deploy out to the individual teams. Okay, got it.
Correct.
And then is all this magic available without the use of any Audiocodes hardware devices? Is this purely a software offering, or do you need the Audiocodes devices to have some of this magic?
Actually, this is something that we're working on right now. So I don't know how you get visibility to the things that we work on right now, but this is a pure Meeting Insight is a pure SaaS software that we offer from our secured cloud in Azure. Okay, but as I said earlier, Audiocodes literally offer all the pieces of the puzzle to organization moving to Microsoft Teams, including meeting room solutions for audio and video. And these days, we're working on a very tight integration for advanced capabilities that we can offer to these customers who will source from us not only Meeting Insight, but also our meeting room solutions.
Good. All right. Thanks. I'll turn it over to Michael now.
Yeah, I think you're kind of alluding to this. You know, it's an enterprise app. I join a lot of meetings externally, and so I was wondering what features are available if I'm joining meetings that are hosted outside of my tenant, and also, you know, some of those features that, you know, like the recap and stuff. How do I share that to participants that may be external to my tenant?
Okay, so first of all, as an organizational application, okay, let's assume that we've built and we've hosted a dedicated Meeting Insight application for you guys. Okay, you can use it for all of the Microsoft Teams meetings that you guys will schedule. Okay, including external parties as well. Okay, we're working on few new capabilities that will allow our customers also to enjoy from some of these generative AI capabilities when they are invited to meetings hosted by somebody else. This is not available yet on Meeting Insight. Though to your question, Michael, there are huge amount of sharing capabilities, actually few circles of sharing capability. Obviously, the first one, well, maybe let's take one step back. We believe that from privacy perspective, the power of controlling the data sits with the owners, those who schedule the meeting, right? So first of all, the first capability that we gave them is the ability to publish the meeting with everybody who attended the meeting. And in some cases, not to do it and keep it only for themselves, okay? Now, the first round, as I showed you, one of the buckets is meetings that were shared with me, right? So obviously, these owners can share snippet of the meeting or the whole meeting with everybody in the organization that they choose to. They can share it with literally the whole organization if this is a wide training or internal training that they would like to spread to anybody else. The other circle is the one that you asked, is with external users, with external parties, right? So even there, we give 2 levels of sharing capabilities, only to those users who attended the meeting, and also by generating a public link that we can give to these users so they can share it with everybody in their organization that they would like to share the content of that meeting. And everything is very, very simple with a simple sharing wizard with less than 2-3 clicks.
That public link, does it show like the video and the timeline,
everything that I showed you, including the generative AI capabilities, literally everything. So for example, if I would host this session and I recorded using Meeting Insight, I would be able to share it with you guys and you guys can see it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had a couple questions, but I thought I noticed in the summary that you were showing, it was actually about Meeting Insights, that there was a basic and advanced license? Is this a one size fits all, or are there different flavors of this?
So we just released a new 2-tier model with Essential and Pro, where we literally give all the capabilities that I presented today, which is obviously very little of all the capabilities of Meeting Insight in the Essential and the Pro. In the Essential package, we also offer 250 hours per month for an organization of generative AI, while on the Pro we offer double the amount of hours, and also the retention period on the premium version is double the amount of retention. This is roughly the main differences between the two. So we try to make it as simple as possible. So only a 2-tier model.
And can you mix and match the models for users, or is it organizational based? What if you
can mix the users? No, you need to select one.
I'm just thinking if there was some Power Meeting users that needed that capability, you could select it. Okay, I was just curious about that. What about meeting? What about sentiment? Like when you're trying to capture the spirit of something, if this, can it detect if the meeting's kind of gone sideways, people are upset, people are excited or happy? Is it
very good question, Dino? Actually, this is something as we do not have today, but this is something that we have on our short-term roadmap. I expect that in less than 2 months, this will be available to our customers.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
No worries. Habib, you had a question, I think?
Yeah, so what I'd like to maybe understand, I know that there's like the the back end and then the client side. What type of permissions does the organization need to enable in order for your application to be able to pull these insights out of the meetings?
So even before the permission, what we need from an organization in order to integrate their own dedicated Meeting Insight to their own Microsoft Teams is actually one simple element, their Teams Tenant ID, which is, by the way, a public number that we can get on any organization, but we prefer to get it obviously from our customers. That allows us to connect to their Active Directory and allows us, the application, to connect to their specific Teams meetings. Now, during the process, we do need 3 consents to be approved from the Teams administrator to allow our bot to join these meetings. It takes less than 30 minutes and they're up and running.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Michael, you
no
got
worries.
Yeah, I have one more question, just really around like kind of the landscape where, we've seen, Microsoft's intelligent recap. We've seen some stuff about Copilot. Where do you see kind of where enterprises are kind of leaning towards, or where do you see kind of the fit for Meeting Insights when, obviously there's a lot of AI stuff going on right now?
Yeah, so a great question, Michael. I'm being asked about it at least once a day. So yes, we definitely see a trend these days of senior management and CIOs tasking their head of IT to go and source an enterprise AI application these days. And they're looking on applications such as Meeting Insights, and also some of the ones that you mentioned as well, coming from Microsoft as well, which, by the way, has Copilot has an amazing technology behind it. The main difference, if you ask yourself, between what is Copilot and what is Meeting Insight is that Microsoft strategically, with most of the features that they were adding to Teams, offered value to the individual, okay, to us as a user, okay? And this is exactly what Copilot is. It's here to fly with us our F-15, if this is the analogy to our meeting, okay? Now, Meeting Insight, we look at it more on an holistic view with the whole organization, how we can add value not only to the individuals within that integrates their organization, but also to the organization itself, okay? How we can help them retain their great ideas in a centralized place, okay? And later on, analyze this data. You know, our CEO mantra for many years was record today and analyzing the future. Well, actually today is the future. Using generative AI, you can do amazing things that you cannot even think about a few years ago, okay? But not only on the individual data, not only supply meeting summary during the meeting, but also give wider analysis on all the data which is gathered in the organization. This is where we're going in the next few months.
One question popped into my head as you're explaining that. Obviously, privacy, compliance, security, data governance is at the forefront of every organization.
A must.
Yeah. So I assume all the meeting recaps, all the information that's stored in the Audiocodes tenant. Do you just want to speak to the point of if enterprises have concerns about that?
Definitely, especially when you talk about an application which captures their biggest ideas, right? With their most secret ideas, right? Their strategies and anything around that, right? So from security perspective that you mentioned, obviously all the elements are secured at rest and in transit, okay? And we've built a secured cloud in Audiocodes Azure tenant for all the applications that we promote to our customers. Privacy is one of the most important things that we had in mind when we built that application. So in every step of the way, we give the owner the option to or stop the recording completely on a specific meeting or pause and resume if needed. If private data needs to be shared in meeting, obviously, he can always unpublish a meeting. He can delete completely a specific one from meeting insight. So again, we give few circles of privacy protection to our users.
Good. Yeah, and of course, if it's all within an Azure subscription, you have the backing of all the Microsoft compliance and certifications that they have with Azure. So I'm sure that helps.
Definitely, especially around, you know, when you talk about generative AI, like GPT, for example, there are plenty of discussions and articles around security concerns when using GPT from organizations like OpenAI these days, right? So even with that service, we are using today GPT service by Microsoft, okay, which is again under all the regulations and the security applications of Microsoft themselves these days.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. All right, well, somehow like half an hour have passed, and usually when it goes so quick like that with so many questions, that means it was a fantastic, engaging session. So I really want to thank you, Guy, for coming on. And any last words before we wrap?
Actually, no, guys, I enjoyed it very much, and I hope that you will invite me again.
Definitely. Well, really appreciate coming on. It looks like a fantastic solution. So thank you very much.
Curtis, everybody, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.